Hello, class. This is Joe, your online instructor, I should say, for the life and letters of Paul for Drury. It's starting today, March 30th. This is actually week 1. It's a compressed class for 7 weeks. So we'll jump into the material of week 2, actually, the module of week 2 on Moodle, on the online learning environment. I just wanted to say a brief hello, and I hope you're all safe during this lockdown time. We're on lockdown here in Ireland. I live in Dublin, Ireland, and I can go to the park across the street, but we're not allowed to go further than 1 mile outside of our house unless it's for essential work or unless we need to find a grocery store, but most of them are within about a mile here that we need. Anyway, so I'm doing everything virtually and online, which is easy enough since we're already doing an online class, so that's great. I'm here if you need me. Email me anytime. If you need to talk to me, we can always set up a Zoom session. Remember, I'm about 6 hours ahead of you, so right now it's about 11 a.m. I suppose it's about 5 a.m. your time. When you see this, it'll be a few hours later. I just wanted to say really quickly about the class too, that the letters of Paul is a class about context more than anything else. So whether one professes faith in the Christian tradition, whether one loves and follows the teachings of St. Paul or not, whether you believe in God or not, either demographic is welcome. So if you believe in God and you're a Christian, you're welcome. If you're an atheist or you're just inquisitive or you're just spiritual but not religious, you're welcome. It's theology and biblical studies in an academic setting. That's what we're doing here with this class. And so it's not a Bible study. It's not a seminary class. It's a religion class taught in an academic setting. That just simply means we'll bracket questions and put them to the side, bracket questions of faith and Christian living and that kind of thing, although they'll come up, of course, because they have to, given Paul's teachings, given the content of what he teaches. So we're going to try to understand Paul, but it has nothing to do with whether you believe in Paul's teachings, okay? One other point I wanted to say about context. I just want to reiterate and reinforce this point, that the overall thesis of the class is that we must contextualize Paul's writings in their original setting. That is, we must understand Paul and his audience and what they might have understood in their first century Jewish and Greek context. So just like you would understand me, if I wrote you a letter and someone found it 500 years later, and I wrote you a letter from, let's say, Springfield, Missouri, where Drury is, and I had all kinds of local expressions and various ideas drawn from that local Springfield context, if you were a historian looking at that letter 500 years later, you would want to understand what Springfield was like in 2020. You'd want to understand what Missouri was like and maybe the American context. You'd probably want to understand what the English language was like, the idiomatic expressions were like in Missouri and Springfield, and so you'd begin to contextualize my letter by building up a picture of what it was like to live as Joe Rivera in 2020. So we're going to do something similar. We want to know what Paul was like, his Jewish tradition was like, the Greek influences and pagan religion influences, what those were like in the first century. And then that will help us get a handle on what Paul was trying to say to his original audience. That's the idea as well. Paul could not have said something his audience would not have understood. That would not make sense. Just like when you write a letter to somebody, you don't write something that's totally out of context for them or for you. You write within your context. And so that's what we want to do with Paul's letters and Paul's theology and Paul's religious perspectives. And so I hope that's okay. I hope that's fun and interesting. And we'll see you on the discussion board this week, which is due Thursday, the first one already. We just got to jump in. Okay, thanks so much, and I'll talk to you again soon.